Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew, and my Pro Tech Communication project is going to be over the Hayden Library. Alrighty, to just start off, I'm going to give a little background information on the library. The Charles Trumbull Hayden Library first opened its doors in 1966, and it's named after the founder of Tempe, Charles Trumbull Hayden. And then flash forward to 1989, it went under a huge expansion, which included the bottom section where you can go underground into the library that we see today. And then it celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2016. And Hayden Library is also the most visited library at the ASU campus, with 1.5 million visitors yearly. To start our conversation on the different dimensions of the Hayden Library, I first want to focus on the demographic that the library mainly serves. Presumably, the library serves the students and faculty of ASU for a variety of reasons. Library is located right on campus. Students can access books and online services directly from the library, and so on and so forth. This is not to say that the library is only exclusive to the students of ASU, though. Residents of Arizona that are 21 or older, NEU students, and U of A students also can get access to the library in the form of a borrowing card, which is essentially like a library card that's for the Hayden Library. Its purpose is only, though, to check out books from the library. It doesn't provide internet access, any access to the network of ASU, or copy and printing services. And to stop right there, I just want to talk about the implications that the designer of the Hayden Library or the policy writer had in mind in determining these rules. Uh, I think the main focus is the writer of these rules saying that ASU students can get more access to the library is letting the rest of the residents of Arizona know ASU has the potential benefit. If you come to our college, you get the wide access that the library provides. That includes the printing services and different services the library provides. Um, the designer and writer of the rules also is trying to say that uh, these are the benefits that if you're a current ASU student, this is what we give you in return for tuition, going to our classes, and whatnot. We are offering these services to Hayden Library to give you the best maximum potential that you can succeed at our college. But I think that the designer of the library rules also had a purpose to serve the rest of the residents of Arizona as well. Um, that's why they included the rule of the borrowing card and giving residents of Arizona 21 or older the chance to use library resources as well, just not to the extent that a student can use it. Uh, and this is also a way maybe of being persuasive and getting people who don't go to ASU to join ASU to reap some of the more exciting benefits the library offers. Lastly, on demographic, I want to talk about the location of the library itself. As you see to the right, in a little yellow circle I drew, is the location of the library relative to the ASU campus. As you can see, it's relatively in the center of most things that is on the campus itself. And I don't think that design choice was by coincidence. I think the designer of the Hayden Library placed the library in that location as just like a center of everything that in ASU. Um, it's relatively close to all the buildings. Students can find it pretty easily. Um, and its purpose is to be easily accessible to anyone visiting the campus or anyone who's going to the campus currently. So on to our next dimension we're going to talk about. I would like to discuss the educational benefits that the library provides and why a designer might choose to include the various tools and research methods to its students. To start off, I want to talk about the 4.5 million books the ASU system of libraries has, and then also to the right you can see that the Hayden Library houses 14 different collections um, from various topics from Arizona to state government and even to U.S. government. From a design perspective, I think the designer wants to communicate the accessibility of knowledge that the Hayden Library has. More importantly, as a student, the designer wants you to know that you have access to over a million different types of resources uh, when you come into the library. And then from the collection standpoint, they want to make clear that they house these collections not only as a benefit to students, but to say to others, hey, the Hayden Library is the only place you can get all these collections here. Uh, so, from a design choice, the designer just wants to promote the accessibility and exclusivity of various collections and amount of books it has. On to another part of the library is the various amount of computer labs and study stations the library has. To the right, there's a map of the lower section of the library, and in there's just various computer learning studios, different computer stations students can use, and also various parts of the library students can study, research, and whatnot. The library also houses 6 different study stations, which students of groups 2 or more can go and check out for a period of time and just use the space to develop programs or work on group projects. And why I think a designer included these special areas for students to utilize, um, the designer wants to provide resources to those who just utilize the library. A designer is giving a reason to the students to come visit the library other than the library just having books. They want to give students computers so that access to the network that ASU provides, and also the study stations, which provide huge amount of space if your group, say, can't find a space somewhere else, or you just need a quiet place to study. You can go straight to the library and do what you need to get done. I also want to talk about one thing. On the very bottom, the library has a space called Maker Services, which provides different workshops to students, faculty, and anyone who just wants to learn more about educational methods or new technologies. And I think from a design point, the Hayden Library provides this um, to teach new people, maybe on subjects like they didn't know how to use a computer or a new software that came out. In a designer aspect, they just want to show that the library is willing to teach new students and faculty different information, and also provide students even more educational benefits to visiting the library. So for the last dimension I'd like to talk about, I want to talk about the institutional factor that the Hayden Library encompasses. More importantly, how Hayden Library fits into the ASU brand. Uh, to start off, Hayden Library is an ASU library, and with that comes all the benefits that an ASU library brings, such as printing, networking, etc. But to access all of those programs, you need to have a Sun card. A Sun card is just the ASU ID that most students are supposed to have. This is a way to print, it's a way to check out books, and it's also needed to log on to the computers to access internet. And I think there's 2 different reasons from a design choice why the Sun card is needed at the library. First, it's a security issue, um, saying that students, if you're not a student and you don't have a Sun card, you can't get access to anything that's at the library. Um, so it deters anyone who doesn't go to ASU from just loitering at the library or using resources that technically they can't use. And 2, um, again, it reminds students to have their Sun card on them, other than just for general identification purposes. You have to have a Sun card to basically access, pardon me, anything at the library. So it's that limiting factor that prompts students to always carry their Sun card around. I also quickly want to talk about connectivity with other libraries and e-library articles. Uh, Say if you want to put a book on hold, but it's at a different campus, uh, the book is able to be transferred over to the Hayden Library in order for you to pick it up there. From the institutional standpoint, all the libraries being under the same umbrella, designer of these libraries is providing accessibility to the student, um, based on book-wise and knowledge-wise, saying, hey, you don't have to go that far to get this book, we'll bring it here. And then from e-library and articles, it's also providing more accessibility, saying, hey, if we might not have this book in our library itself, we have millions more resources online for a student to access. Uh, so it provides a convenience factor as well from a design perspective. And more importantly, it's serving that student demographic that the Hayden Library was essentially built for. All right, and that's my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.